Hey guys, how's it going today? So, we've been trying to print off a Cubone mask for a few days now. Since Wednesday I tried printing that thing I don't know how many times, and I keep coming up with this issue that there's a shift in the layers. So I don't know what that is. I'm trying to figure it out. I added some cooling to all the electronics, and I'm still shifting the layers. So we're going to change a few things in the code, see if that helps, and start it again. And then we'll be able to talk about how we balance ourselves, because I have no idea. This is a big issue that I have in my life where I can't seem to balance everything properly. It's either I work too much or I spend too much time with the family and I don't want to go back to work, which, you know, not a bad thing. But I should concentrate on work once in a while, right? So, while I remove the failed print off the printer there, just if you're here and you're willing to talk, don't forget to just like say what you think in the chat, and tell me, how do you balance your work life or family life or any part of your life? So your hobbies and things like that, how do you balance it all within your daily lives? I'm curious. So let me work on this for a little bit. I won't be able to talk because my head is going to be stuck in the enclosure for my printer. But if you do have time, say what you can, and let's see if we can figure out how to help me or other people that may be joining us. Alright, so that was a lot easier than I expected. So, yeah, we have a big issue here where the prints are sticking in properly and everything, but it keeps shifting after a while. So I thought maybe something got too hot somewhere. Started looking into that, but nothing gets extremely warm. Tried the belts. The belts are on tight. I can play guitar on them. Tried the programming. Programming seems good to go. I added a fan right on top here that you can see to cool all the electronics underneath. What else could it be? I'm really not sure. So we're going to try and figure that out. Alright. So, balancing our lives. I know that that's something I struggle with, and that's why I'm here tonight, trying to see if somebody else has any idea. Because for me, I know that I either put too much time in one thing and then forget everything else. And yeah, I know it's probably the ADHD talking, but doesn't mean I can't improve on it, right? Alright, so alright. Maybe I can't fix it like that. What I did notice is one part of my printer seems broken, so I'll have to print another one. So let me go check Cura, which is the program that I use to slice the prints. But let me open that up. It's going to take a minute or so. This is not the fastest computer for these types of programs. So for balance, what do I do to balance my life? I attempt at least to make a day like a box, but inside that box, kind of like these things here. Take one of these out. I'll open one up even though they're clear. Everything is separate. I try to do that, but knowing how I am, I open the box. I'm just taking another one because I don't want to mix that one up. And I tend to do this. Just removing these. I'll go along and just start removing some of these separators. And I do that during my daily life. I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to keep these walls in there to separate things properly. Is it easy to do? Not at all. One of the reasons I do that is probably because when I start thinking about something, I get stuck in the mindset of, oh, I need to finish this or finish that, so on and so forth. So maybe I just need to separate my things a bit more or less maybe. Alright, I know that when I start doing something, I put a lot of time and effort into it, and that at the same time, what it does, it means that I'm spending less time with either my family or concentrate less at work or all sorts of small things like that, or even like talk less to friends and family. And that's something I'm trying to improve. So how much work do I need to put into this? Is there a small trick that I could do to fix it all? Or is it no, you just gotta fix it one little step at a time? I'm not sure myself. Alright, let's go back to Cura here. So I'll switch the screen here. So this is Cura. Okay, the printer is currently not running. I'll move the camera so you can see inside at all times anyways. There you go. And I do know that I opened it up earlier trying to find the right file that I needed. So let me try to find that again. I got a fan stand, and it looks like I completely forgot to download the file that I needed. Sounds about right. Well, there's an easy solution for that. We can just go on the Thingiverse. Open that up. Let me bring the screen down there so you can see it. And then in that A8 belt tension, we're just gonna write that. That's for the Y belt. I'm looking for one for the X axis. So let's just write X. Alright. Now we need to find the right file that will fit, and that doesn't require too much modification to my printer. I know I got it here before, but what happened is that tensioner that I have right now on the printer broke, and it's this one. So perfect. Found it. It's not this exact model that I had, but it'll do. As long as it has the right size. It says that this is for I need those, I need that. So it's for the Annette A8, which is what I have, except mine is a lot more modified. Alright, so now that that part's downloaded, we're gonna grab that file, bring it down here. Is that the right one? There you go. So we're gonna slice it, bring our USB into the computer. So now we're in 44 minutes at that size. I don't need that many details. Let's bring it up to a coarse build and slice it again. 46 minutes. Sounds more reasonable. Alright. So now we're back to the printer. Right, printer started. Now all we need to do is just wait till it heats up and starts printing. While it does that, still have to work on these things. So I worked on the Loki crown, or the Sylvie crown, whatever you want to call it. It's all nice and smooth. All I have to do now is put either a coat of primer and repaint it, or just a clear coat on it and make it nice and shiny. There's still a few print lines I could work a bit more on, but I want to do these because a friend of mine that ordered these from me has been waiting on these for quite a while now, so I'm gonna try to spend some time on them and see that's what I meant about balancing everything. I have a 3D printer, somebody asked me to do something, yeah sure, no problem, and then I do my own things instead of doing what I told them I would do. Good thing that they're not in a hurry and they knew that I was having problems with my printer. But now that I have them printed and everything, all I need to do is sand them and prime them. So why not try to do a bit of that tonight? Alright. So what we're going to try to do here is, I don't know if you can see them print lines there. I want to try to remove them as much as possible, but mostly it's these little lumps and bumps there. I need to work on these. So all I'm going to do is take some sandpaper and sand them all around. Try to make them nice and smooth. So I know I was struggling with the stream the other day. Who's in the stream right now? I'm hoping maybe my moderator is on. Is it lagging like last time there, Skyra? Or is the lag better? Or just not present? Perfect. The stream is all good. Alright, so now there's only myself and Skyra in the chat right now, so I'll be working on these. And if somebody decides to join us, perfect. We'll have somebody to talk with. If not, I get more work done in these. And the sound is good. Perfect. Does that sound make like the ASMR thing, or is it just pure annoyance? The scratching sound from the sandpaper. Perfect, the ASMR thing, it works. Apparently some people like those types of sounds. I know I'm not a big fan of listening to them, but when you're working on something and you hear them, it's not as bad, I find. It's just listening to it just to listen to it. Not my idea of a good night. But I don't know, maybe people can let us know why they like it. Or maybe it's just that one sound that I keep hearing, those people that go next to their microphone and just go. Not a fan of that sound at all. Sorry for those that don't like it either. I just had to imitate it. Oh, these are nice and easy. So some of the tools that I use when I clean stuff, some of them are sandpaper and stuff like that, and I bought myself one of these kits a few years ago. So those are all sorts of blades of all types. Probably one of my favorite things to use. Small blades that cut through pretty much anything. You're not careful, you lose a finger. Never lost a finger, so I guess I'm careful enough. You know what? I'm gonna try to put some music on, just some light background music. Let me see if I still have it somewhere. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I still like listening to music. So, non-copyright music. Let's play that. Let me know if it's too loud or whatnot. Can you hear it at least? Yeah, I should probably put my eyeglasses on, my protective glasses on. They were right... Oh, there they are. They're still right there. Ha! Yeah, I put these on because last time I did something like this, a piece of plastic flew right into my eyeball and still hurts today, to be honest. It's like a small scratch in there, probably. But thank you, Skyra. Good thing you're in my life, because I would forget things like that and probably lose an eye. You know that. You know I don't pay attention to small details, and then I do something stupid and I get hurt every single time, right? Perfect. Music is just there. And this is all non-copyrighted music. So. Basically, the music for me right now is just background noise. Until I can have somebody in chat that wants to talk about either balance or 3D printing or whatnot. It just gives me a bit of background noise. Oh yeah, I can't forget to remove all the painter's tape from underneath. I had trouble with adhesion for a while, and now it appears that adhesion is no longer an issue. So I might move back to my glass bed soon. Kind of miss having prints that are mirror finishes. Speaking of prints, where is that print at from here? From here it looks good, so that's a good start. Wow, I'm not a fan of that song at all. Oh, you know, non-copyrighted music. Can't choose that much. You just go what's available at one point. I stopped using glass for a while on the bed because the well, first off, the glass broke. And after that, the printer had was struggling with adhesion, so the prints would not stick on the glass itself. They would always just peel off. So I went back to painter's tape, just until I figured it out. Because it was adjustments after adjustments after adjustments, and I didn't want the print head to go straight on the bed and then just squeeze on the glass until it broke, like it happened when I actually broke it. So instead of breaking all the glass that I have, I just went with move back to painter's tape. It's easier to adjust, and if I can find the money to order that, like I told you there, Skyra, that little adjustment tool that I wanted that goes on the printer. Maybe one day I'll be able to buy it. if I had that, it would never be a worry, because the tool itself goes and picks the points on the bed, just says, okay, the bed is like whatever angle it's at, and never hits further than that. While right now, it stops with when it hits a little switch, and that switch is on the side of the printer, not on the bed itself. So that creates an issue that if I don't hit the switch, or the switch doesn't work for some reason, it just goes through the glass. But I still have a bunch of glass, so at least there's that. Now it's all thanks to you. I think tonight's gonna be a quiet night on Steam there. Steam. On Twitch. Years to go through all the glass. Yeah, probably, but that's a good thing. That's less money spent. So just for fun there, Skyra, what's the title of the stream say? From your end there. Mine, I could check on mine actually, I'm not that busy. Attempt number 2 and talk about balance. Let me change something again just to try get people in here. There you go. Updated the title again. Maybe people just want to hang out, so I placed that in there in the title itself. Perfect. Well, at least the stream was working tonight. I have no idea what was happening on Wednesday. It's as if it was just not meant to happen. If you're talking about your knitting or, you know, your guitar playing skills, sure. Other than that, no thanks. Unless you made some cookies and I don't know. Oh, by the way, you remember that guy that talked about wanting you to knit him a hat? He gave me an answer. I forgot to mention it to you. Let me go find that if I... He gave me dimensions of his head. Hopefully that's enough for you. When you have time. Never gave him a time for it either. Where is he? Right there. 7 inches, 1/8. He didn't talk about color though. I'm thinking he wants the same thing I have. So like the army camo color, I guess. My goal's tomorrow. Fair enough. You gotta buy some sheep fur. Forgot the word for yarn. Sounds like me forgetting easy words. I think he wants the exact same color for that hat. Because he really, really liked yours. Well, mine, but the one... I said yours because the one you did. Because that's the Cthulhu hat you did, right? Unless you went to go check on your yarn, which could be a thing right now. Yeah, I think it was the Cthulhu one. Because that's the only name I can find for it. Could be octopus, but, you know, there's too many legs for an octopus. Or tentacles, rather. But it's alright, you forgot it. You'll have to find the pattern. Yeah, that's fair. But it's alright if you forgot the word Cthulhu. At least it wasn't yarn. I forgot the word yarn. Octopus is the name of it? Cthulhu kind of fits more like it. Cthulhu has tentacles on his face that kind of look like that. You should make some and try to sell them. You've seen what people sell on Facebook. You can easily beat that. Where'd you go find that? Like Pinterest or something? YouTube. Yeah, YouTube's a good place to go to find a lot of things, actually. It's usually my go-to for pretty much everything. Even though I know how to do a lot of things, why not go see somebody that seems to do it more often than I do when I'm not sure. Same thing for the 3D printer or the 3D rendering that I do. Not sure about something, go on YouTube. And it's called Octopus Mask. Octopus has 8 legs, tentacles. That one has a bit more than 8. That's fine, that's what it's called. So balance. What do you do to balance your life? Like between work, hobbies, family. How do you balance all of it? Like, I know it's a struggle. There's a thing where some people say, well, you can only have, you know, either friendship and work, or family and work, or family and friendship, but you won't be able to get all 3 things. Or was it entertainment or something like that? Not exactly sure. I just know that balancing life with everything that you want and that you need to is not an easy concept. I see there's a few people in chat there. If they want to join in, go ahead. If not, I'll just be working on these little platforms there. Who's on tonight? Trying to see your name through these busted glasses there. Oh, Ewan, how's it going, buddy? How are you tonight? Glad you could make it. And yeah, I started a bit earlier tonight. I'm trying like an 8 to 9 instead of 9 to 10. So Skyra says that she's the worst person for about balance. I'm not any better than you, and we're married. So, Ewan, how do you balance everything in your life? I know I struggle with it a lot. A lot of it is, well, I'm forced to do it, so I'm just gonna go. But that's not the best way of doing things, I find. If you're available, you don't have to say. If you're not comfortable talking about it, just let me know. I'm, not tonight, whatever, and we'll just switch subjects. Because right now, what I'm doing is, printing a part for, the printer, because one of them broke. And, after that, I'm gonna try to print a, Cubone mask, if you will, but it's gonna be made for the size of a cat, because my printer is not big enough for my head or my dog's head unless I split in multiple pieces. Jeez. Alright, this is a bit better. Oh, it might fit Roxy. Take things one day at a time or ride the lightning sometimes. Yeah, there's a lot of riding the lightning in my life, that's for sure. We work together, well, at least once. And you saw me ride the lightning. It happens a lot more than I'd like to. I like to try to plan for everything, but sadly, I do a lot of things where you just gotta write it out. You can't prepare for it more than what you did, and when it happens, it still wasn't enough. So I try to balance everything out and spend time with family, but some of the jobs that I have don't give me time. So yeah, you're right, taking one day at a time is probably the best advice we can give anyone. Not to worry too much about everything, just go with the flow. But you still want to have a certain balance, right? Like right now, Friday night, a lot of people are probably going to be out with family, friends, or watching a movie or something like that, relaxing from their week of work. And as some people, I don't know who's been in the stream there the past week, really, but like I wasn't at work this week. I've been taking some time off because my grandfather passed away, but still haven't been doing what I should have and process the whole thing because I don't know how to, because I can't balance everything, or maybe I already processed it. All I do know is my chain of command at work said, go home, think about everything, come back on Monday. So I did exactly that. How about yourself? No big plans tonight, or just want to take it easy? You know, I'm not judging here. You do what you want to do, what you think is best for you. I'm just here really to have a chat with people and make Friday evenings a bit different, or like 3 times a week. That's what I want to do, just change up the routine a little bit. And that's why I decided to take most of these streams to an hour at most, and then just stop it there, because try to balance everything out. If I try to spend too much time on here, I'm not balancing the stream with everything else I do. So balance, extremely important, extremely hard to achieve. I think that might be a big thing that depends on what type of work you're in as well. Playing games while you wait for your woman. You guys going out tonight, or just hanging out, you two? Don't need to go into details. Don't even need to talk about it if you don't feel like it, to be honest. Well, yeah, we did that last week. Myself and my wife there with Skyra decided to go on a date. We hadn't done that in how many years there? Don't even remember how long was the last time we actually went on a date, just her and I, and we went to see that Shang-Chi movie from Marvel. That was fun. And every time we go out, I know I come back and go like, why don't we do this more often? Then I look at the bank account and I go like, oh yeah, that's why. Oh yeah, staying in. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's a work week. People are either, well, school started, so like whether you're, no matter what grade you're in, whether you're in university or high school, I'm not just talking about you there, Muin, but you know, after a week of working, not everybody wants to go out first thing on Fridays. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know when I was younger, Fridays were, parties. Now it's Friday. Yeah, no, I'm just you know, gonna relax. Because my body hurts a lot. I got a friend down here. Roxy came to see me, apparently. Yeah, so this was supposed to be a mask for Cubone, you know, that Pokemon. Got a few layer shifts that I'll remove this part here so you can see. Let's see how it steps up. I keep having this issue just with this model for some reason. I printed a tube that's like 20 centimeters long. Never happened on it once. Try to print that thing right away. Well, right away after like 4 hours, starts messing up. And that's a big print. Like, that's a 20-hour print. After 4 hours, it wastes a lot of material for no reason, so I'm trying to figure out what did it before I try it again. Because, you know, I want to go back to printing big stuff. I need to print a few things. Well, I don't need to, but I want to. Like just the front plate for the Iron Man mask here. By the way, I started working on it again. Started putting putty. I'm gonna sand it all down, make it nice. But just this front plate starting down there, these two parts. So the front plate there took 26 hours to print. So for that, I need a printer I can rely on. And right now, this one seems to mess up after 4 hours. So what is going on? No clue. Gotta fix it. Nope, it shifted. Good thing you were looking at it, but here, I'll move the camera just to show you. I don't know if you can see it. Oh yeah, you kind of see it a little bit. Alright, so not 4 hours, apparently 32 minutes is what it takes. Stop the print, rip it off. Oops. I'll bring it closer to that camera where there's a bit more quality to the image. Well, that's a big issue I'm having. Right now this pulled up, it was nice and flat before, but we can still see that this is supposed to be nice and straight. I should be able to put a ruler next to it. Well, without the bottom part there, that's just a... I'm kind of crooked just a little bit. That's not good. So, what could be causing that? Apparently heat is a big thing, but there is no heat. So maybe that's the issue. Maybe I just don't have enough power to motors that move around. So that's my... Where are these? Alright. Let's heat the motor up, see if that's an issue that's happening. Maybe it doesn't even heat up. Hey, Liquid Sloth, how's it going, my friend? So yeah, I'm taking it a bit earlier tonight. Started earlier. And wanted to talk about balancing everything. And you in there started streaming again. Good for you, my friend. Like going through the motivation thing. We talked about that a few, was it like 3 or 4 streams ago? I'm glad that, well, I don't know if I did anything, but I'm glad that you found the motivation to start again. That's what I want. Having discussions with people and maybe helping somebody, or maybe that person helps me. So, Liquid Sloth, how have you been? And if you're willing to share, how do you balance your work-life balance or ratio, however you want to call it? You were talking a lot last time. I don't even remember what that one was. I apologize for that. I remember you. You don't balance well. Honestly, you're not the only one in that position. And yeah, man, go ahead, go play your game. I'll be here, work on the 3D prints for a bit. And I want to take it easy tonight. I'm going slow. I'm not running afterwards, anything. I'm just here to chat with people, see if they manage to have a proper work-life balance or not, or what they use if they do, all sorts of things like that. Like, I even started looking into what I can do to improve my stream and all that, but all of it requires me to spend more time on it, which not a bad thing. And I know that, you know, I want it to be better, I need to do it more often and things like that, but that adds another thing to the balance that I want to achieve. Is it possible? Yeah, sure, a lot of people do it. Does my ADHD make it easy? No, it does not. Makes it extremely hard to balance anything, honestly. Most people just remember the feeling of a conversation, which is why you should leave with good vibes. Also, if someone was perfectly balanced, I don't think they would go on random streams to look for friends or knowledge. You know what? That's a fair assessment. And a big thing that I do is not just to... like, sometimes you do get those random people that are just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go look through the stream, see what I find. And some of those people are extremely well balanced, but you know, usually people that are well balanced have a proper time for everything, and just going on random stuff, it's usually people like you or I probably that, hey, you know what, I'm gonna check this person out because I don't know what he's about, and I don't have a plan to do something tonight. I just go out, or maybe I understand wrong, but honestly, Liquid Sloth, you said there, remember the feeling of a conversation, why you should, and which is why you should leave with a good vibe. And yes, when we streamed when I streamed last time that you were there, it was I had an extremely good time where we just had a discussion for a while about pretty much, well, not just everything, but just a few things here and there, and I enjoyed it a lot because that was, like you said, the feeling of the conversation was present, and that was nice. And yes, I should get a actual schedule out. Right now it's just Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but I should probably put it on my channels to make sure that everybody that joins in can see it. You are right on that, and that's a thing I've been meaning to do. But it's one of those things where, like I was saying, I don't balance things right. I know I have to do something, yet I don't for whatever reason. Alright, I'm on stream right now. What?
I just found a new start planet with a weird planet on it.
Okay.
And it also has plants and animals that whenever you scan them, they give you like $200,000.
Cool.
I thought they only gave you $3,000.
I'll go scan them all, have fun. Oh, it's Killian talking about No Man's Sky there. Started playing that a few weeks ago, and I think he loves the game. I think one of the issues that I'm having for the streams itself, because like Scara said, I've been keeping up with the schedule. When I say I'm going to be here for whatever time or whatever day, I've been here, and haven't skipped out on any. I might have been a minute late tonight, to be honest, but I try to keep up with what I say I do, because I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. When I say it to somebody. When I say it to myself, it doesn't work the same way for some reason. But yeah, it's what I need to do is go on whatever Twitch channel that I connect with and have a discussion with people and just join a community, which I haven't been doing. And that's a big part of getting connections. I can't just rely on people jumping into my stream. I need to go on other people's stream to chat with them, and then you build a community. Not, I'm just gonna sit in the corner and hope people come and talk to me. That's not how life works in general. You need to be the one that makes their first move once in a while. But sometimes you get good connections just by talking to random people that decide to join in. Like Liquid Sloth, I can... Sorry if you don't want to be named, just let me know, but you're just the perfect example of how you can find some good people randomly that just join your streams. And one of the big things I wanted to do is not... I don't want to be one of those pushy streamers that come on, do everything I say because it gives me more viewers and stuff like that. I want a nice, relaxed environment. So I want people to join in because they want to, but right now what's happening is I get a few people and then lots of trolls. Just on Wednesday there was this one guy that came in and started saying all sorts of random stuff. I'm in 3 communities on Twitch and they helped me out a lot. Well, that's good. See, that's what I want. I want to build a community that does stuff like that helps people out with anything that's going on in their life. I might not be the expert, but that's why communities are a thing where there's more than one person there, so everybody can help everybody. I think that's an important part of just being alive. We need to help each other. And sometimes it's just having a community to hang out. Doing nothing is still important once in a while. You can't always be doing something. And when I mean nothing, I mean like actually be bored. There's been some science and some research done on that, we need to be bored more often, where you just have nothing to do at all. Apparently that's very good for your mind. And you know, to me it kind of makes sense. Because if you're always doing something, your mind's always working on everything and trying to... it goes back to balance. Trying to balance everything out when your brain is always working. Not an easy thing. But if you get bored, you have time to think about quite a few things. Because that's all you got. Right? When you're just you with your own brain, you do with what you have. Oh, and I've worked with you enough there, Muin, to know that, yes, you will and you do. Not just in your work life, but I've seen you go and you do take time off of your work life to help in your day-to-day life. You do it here on stream. You help out a lot, and it is noticed, it is appreciated. Thank you. Oops. Turned off my light by accident there. So Liquid Sloth, if you're on there and you can hear me, you say you're playing games. What type of games do you play? I'm curious. I love, like, I've been a gamer since I've been born almost. Well, not really, because we didn't really have a console for the first 5 years of my life. But you know, I like gaming. What are you gaming? Or yourself there, Mune? You can answer that too. You more shooter, RPG? A lot of people are into shooters these days, and you know, for myself, I tried to stop playing those because I didn't like the communities a lot of time. They were very, very, very toxic. And it's not that I'm afraid of toxicity, it's like I deal with a lot more toxic people just in my day-to-day life. But when I play games, I don't want to. Minecraft, eh? Haven't played that game in forever. Was not a big fan of Minecraft, honestly. Call of Duty, yeah, I played those a lot, but those are the communities I don't like. Minecraft community is pretty good, but I don't know, Minecraft just never clicked with me. I played Space Engineers though, and yeah, I still play that one once in a while. Or if you like, I played Terraria, which is Minecraft 2D, but completely different at the same time. It's another thing I have zero balance in. I have a Steam library of I don't know how many games, and I haven't beaten them all, that's for sure. And it's not that I bought all of them, so a lot of them were free. So some of them I will never play, like the hockey games and stuff like that. I'm just not a fan of those hockey games. Yeah, one of the things I don't like about just making sure prints look good and stuff like that at the end is that all the sanding gets very dusty. So after this I need to go through with a vacuum and take all the dust away, because electronics are not fans of dust and stuff. But I want things to look good, so can't have everything perfect. Oh wait, nothing's perfect. That's the truth of life that we all gotta accept. Perfection is not a thing. So I could send these out not perfect. You think your brother wants to play Diablo 2 with him? Well, go ahead. But you don't own Diablo 2 Remastered. You own maybe Diablo 2 normal, but not the remastered one. It's a new game that they re-released, and then you'll have to pay it. Which, you know, I'm not stopping you either. I'm just letting you know. Alright, so now these things are done. What I have to do is just correct a few more of the ones that are already done. There's just a few small things. Then tomorrow morning I'll go put a coat of primer on them, make them look ready to be painted and ship them off. At least one job is done. For that Diablo 2, you asked me if I bought it. I said no. Why buy it again when I have the normal one? I don't know if there is anything new in the Diablo 2 remaster. I knew the graphics were redone, like you said, but I don't know if they actually added anything. Usually in remastered, they add a little bit of stuff. Anybody know there in chat? Because I don't. Oh, maybe you can't play it anymore. I really don't know. I don't really read that much into Blizzard news. I used to, though. You're not too interested. Fair enough. You could tell your brother that if you're not interested in the game. You know, you can't always be playing the same games over with them, especially an old game like that. Diablo 3's out, plus there's Path of Exile that's completely free, that doesn't require anybody to buy anything. It's just a bit more complicated. Oh, there's a lot more people in chat right now. And suddenly everybody's gone again. That's the nature of streaming. I love this. Maybe it's just my stream that goes all over the place. Alright, Skyra, you got the right idea. Let the brother use all his money. He has some to spare with his, like, what, 3070 graphic card and all that. That's the thing, you want somebody to play a game with you and they don't own it. You can't just expect them to buy it because you want to play with them. Sometimes you gotta do something like that and just say, screw it, I'll buy it for you if you join me once in a while. I don't know, I miss playing Elite Dangerous with friends. That's a game that I love to play, but it's such a big game and there's nobody that plays it with me, so I gotta rely on strangers. But I never know if those strangers are pirates. So Mulan, is that your streaming account that you're on right now? Or do you have a secondary stream only one? Link it up in the chat there. I'll join you. Like once in a while when you're streaming, I don't mind joining you and having a chat. Supporting you. Can't promise I'll be there all the time. Especially if you start streaming at the same time I do. But yeah, you link up your... This is your streaming one? Alright. Let me just click on your name. And how do I follow from there? There you go. Once it loads. Oh yeah, look at all the Call of Duty Warzone games you played. There you go, you just added a new follower to your stream. What are your streaming times? I mean, is that on your channel? I could probably have looked at that, eh? Okay. Alright, so this is the last little platform I have to sand down before I throw a coat of paint on there. Like I said, ship them off tomorrow. Oh, that's fine. You don't need to mention what you're not comfortable with. Whatever it is, it's your game. I'm just trying to make conversations with people, really, honestly. That's one of the big things I want to do with this stream, is try to have conversations with people about, you know, whatever subject is important. Like, I find that trying to find balance in your life is super important. It helps with a lot of things. But like you said earlier, we can't we can't expect everybody to have a good balance to join this stream like this. There's a good quote I'd like to share about you saying you don't like to stream. Stream on. Yeah, actually, I'm not sure I understand everything from that quote there, from what you're saying there. That I don't like to stream on times. Yeah, tell me that quote. Please share it with me. Above all, do not lie to yourself. A man who lies to himself and listens to his own lies comes to a point where he does not discern any other truth, either in himself or anywhere around him, and thus falls into disrespect towards himself and others. Not respecting anyone, he ceases to love, and having no love, he gives himself up to passions and coarse pleasures in order to occupy and amuse himself. And in his vices reach completely bestiality, and it all comes from lying continually to others and himself. That's an amazing quote, actually. I really like that one. Do not lie to yourself. Yeah, and that's something that I struggle with, not in the sense that you may think, but in the sense that I got this severe injury a few years ago, and once in a while I go with the this is not real, and I try to push myself further, then hurt myself more, then put my life on pause, and it's this big vicious circle of me getting worse and worse in my health, because I keep lying to myself that I'm still a young guy with no injuries. I know it's not as bad as it can be, but it's a small thing. One small lie to yourself that you start believing in can make a lot of things worse. I really like that quote. Thank you for sharing that. That's something that should be followed by everybody. Lying to yourself or others, really, should not be a common thing. Well, what do you think people start lying to themselves or to others like that, though? That's another big thing where, you know, you gotta take into consideration, why do people start lying to either themselves or others? For me, it's like saying I won't drink Cokes anymore, then I do, or I'll say I'll exercise in the morning, then I don't. Well, that's exactly it, right? It's any small thing like that, but why do you think we do something like that? For me, I know that when I lie to myself about, oh, I'm not injured or something like that, and then I start doing something, is because I know I don't want to be in the position I'm in. And I want it to be fake. So I lie to myself and go out, and then I realize that it's not fake at all. It makes things a lot harder to deal with. maybe you have another point of view you'd like to share. I'd be curious if, or anybody, like, this is an open forum. Please share what your thoughts are. I was just trying to readjust the belts there on the printer. I can't really answer that directly, but anyway, maybe at the source it's a desire for us to want to stay in control even though our lives keep us from that control. Yeah, so I didn't explain myself properly, but I think that's exactly what it is as well. Because it's easy to control what you say, but it's a lot harder to control what you... Not harder, but it's easier to say something than to do something. So when you lie to yourself about whatever thing it is, so that you can control whatever happens. So like myself, oh, I'm gonna go for a run tomorrow, I'm fine. Well, if I say that and I go for that run, I know myself, I know I'm gonna be in a lot of pain following that. So I need to convince myself to not run as fast or as far or however I want it to be. These are my limitations. That's what I have to, that's what I gotta follow. Yeah, I do remember you there, Ali. You gonna start with all those useless things that you keep saying again, or you willing to have a proper discussion tonight? So, Skyra there, it's like drinking. It's all fun until the next morning. Then we regret drinking too much and promise ourselves that we will never drink that much again, and then you start all over. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? You start telling yourself lies about anything. It always devolves into a worse thing and worse thing and worse thing. So if you knew the answer, Liquid Sloth. Right there, that's a restream bot. Is a bot because I restream from on both Twitch and YouTube. And this is somebody from YouTube, but I'm pretty sure he's just trolling me. So I'm just ignoring him, and I'm gonna go like remove him, or maybe one of my mods can go do that. That's the nature of streaming in general. You'll get some people that have nothing else better to do in their lives. So that's been removed, and there you go, reported. Good. You found the best stream the other day, but he only takes callers. Best one I've found in years. What do you mean he only takes callers? Like he's gonna go. You have to call in like every. Oh yeah, I've seen a guy like that. I don't know if it was the same one you're talking about, but I stayed on that stream for a bit, and yeah, that was actually really interesting the way he does it. I was thinking about doing something similar to that before I even knew that was a thing, but you know, I'm new to streaming. I didn't know how things were gonna go and stuff like that, so I didn't want to start with a big thing of just having random people calling my whatever number. I know today it's not a big deal with all the internet calling that we have, But I didn't think I wanted to go for that big of a thing right away. I want to get used to how I talk to it in front of camera, how I work with the printer, how I work with my stuff, making sure the sound works and all that. But he did have a very, very good concept, I find. It was very interesting. See him, like somebody calls in, and now that does kind of force people to be more genuine. Maybe not, but when they start talking, like they hear their voice on the radio, well, not the radio, but the stream itself. So it does force people to talk a bit more into what they really believe in, because you can hear usually somebody that doesn't believe their own, well, for lack of a better word, that they don't believe their own bullshit. It was a very interesting concept. I'm not sure if it was the same guy, but probably. I know that I do want to do something like that, but at a bigger scale. Maybe not call in, but that's the thing. It's finding subjects to talk about. That's a big thing that is a lot harder than I expected. Like at one point, what do you talk about? Right? You want to have a talk show type or like just chatting stream? Well, you got to keep it interesting. So this guy, I think, has he kept it pretty simple. But Money Worms, I'm looking at his stream right now. He just has fun. That sounds like really cool. The one I don't know if it was that guy or not, but it was like you had to call in, and he was talking about something like a big subject. So the printer is not going to work properly. Talk about something you want to further yourself and others will mirror what you... That's true. That's what I'm trying to do. So I talk a lot about mental health and stuff like that because I want to understand it more. But it's a hard subject to talk about because a lot of people are afraid of it. You start talking about mental health like at every level, and people kind of turn off from that because it seems that, you know, it's their own life and they don't want to talk about their experiences, which I understand because that's a big thing for me where I struggle with trying to just live with it, even worse talking about it. But yeah, that's a big thing. So that's why I started looking into, well, maybe if I change the way I do the stream, because I like 3D printing, yes, but 3D printing was just like a sideline. I like video games, yeah, but a lot of people do the streaming with video games, and I wouldn't bring anything new. So I want to talk about mental health. I want to talk about what I go through and stuff like that. So I'm going with that. If it works, good. If it doesn't, well, it'll be kind of like a video diary, I guess, because what I say is always referencing what I see, what I do, or how I think. And not in a sense that I'm better than everybody else, but just this is the way I see and understand things. But at the same time, that doing something like that, I have to be willing to understand that certain people will try to, like, not remove themselves, but lower the value of what I say because I don't have the same values or not morals, but I don't have the same values as them, which is normal. If we live in different areas and things like that, values are going to be different. Funny though, because a few years ago I saw that the whole stream thing started, and I started doing it when Twitch was called Justin TV. That was back when I played World of Warcraft and EVE Online. It was fun, but I never made anything out of it because I never thought it would get this big. And then I got all my anxiety issues, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to stream and talk to random people, but about what? Everybody's already better at me in video games and stuff like that. And then anxiety kicked in. So that's why I started going through all sorts of mental health issues and things like that. Like, you know what? I need to talk about these things. So I want to improve who I am and what I do. The only thing I can do is talk about it. Well, not the only thing, but one of the big things I can do is talk about it. So what I found dealing with my anxiety is that we feel like it's happening only to us because we don't hear people talking about it. People are starting to be more open about mental health issues now, but there's still a lot of work to do. And yes, and that's a big reason why I want to do a stream like this. And now I'm trying to talk about balance tonight. But it's a hard subject for me to talk about because balancing everything is not something I'm very good at right now. And I was hoping maybe somebody had tips and tricks, because I can go online and start reading about all sorts of things, which I've been doing for most of my streams. And the only thing I see about balance is, well, keep a diary or do this stretch in the morning to help exercise your brain or something like that. And what I find is that for a lot of those tips and tricks, I don't follow them for very long because my brain just forgets about them. And then I remember them 3 days later and I go like, oh yeah, well, you know what? I haven't done it 3 days and I didn't notice anything anyways. So I just stopped. So I need to try and correct that. Now I do know that from all the things I read that is a big thing in ADHD. I feel every human suffers equally. It's just a different light of suffering. Maybe some it's more physical suffering, others it's more mental suffering, but I haven't met anyone who is just perfect in every way. And my mom's new boyfriend is a doctor who has $3 million house and like $1 million saved up, goes on vacations and stuff, but just usually depressed and demotivated a lot. And yeah, that's a big thing. Nobody's perfect. And it's not about searching for perfection either, for me anyways. But yes, a lot of people suffer from all sorts of things. And people that suffer physically from like chronic illnesses and things like that tend to end up suffering from mental health issues as well. So, since I go through these sorts of things, why not talk about it and try to open up more and have more people talk about it so that we can see that, like Sky was saying, we're not alone in these things. And whether it's I have trouble balancing my life or, you know, I'm thinking about suicide these days, if wherever you are on that spectrum, it's important that we talk about it, because if we can help each other, what's better to do than that help each other? I'm a big believer that we're not meant to just be everything about yourself. When you do stuff, it should be for the benefit of other people. Now, by saying that, I'm not saying that if I work hard that everybody should get a part of what I do, because I do believe in the class system. So it's a very complicated position I'm in, apparently, from if I'm following what people are saying. Some will put it on a scale, though, and say since they have no friends who care about them, their suffering is greater than someone who has never won anything or someone who has never accepted by their parents, etc., etc. And that's a big thing. Yes, everybody thinks their suffering is worse than somebody else. And that's not just a few people. Everybody that's suffering thinks they are suffering the worst at that very moment for that one thing. But I've met somebody that got shot 4 times and barely said anything, and that's physical pain, I get it. And they just carried on. I mean, they got shot, got patched up, healed, went back to war. And I've met somebody that had he failed a test, basically. failed a test and was the most depressed person ever because they failed a test and they thought that, you know, it was the end of their life. The guy that got shot 4 times could have died at any second because one of those rounds actually hit him in the lungs. Well, one lung. And for him it was nothing. So ultimately, the guy that got shot was in a worse situation, technically, but was still in a better position at the end because of his mental health. He just went with, yeah, it's just a bullet, I carry on. But the other person never had failed anything, and now he did. So how do you put it on a scale, officially, suffering? Like, yeah, there's the doctor's scale for suffering of 1 to 10, like, 1 is you're just a little bit in pain, and 10 you're like you're passing out. You are passing out from pain. But that scale even then doesn't mean that much because people have different tolerances to physical pain. Now apply that to mental health, I think that's the same thing that applies. Everybody suffers differently. So one thing to one person can be almost the end of the world, and to the next person next to them it's nothing. And that's a very big reason, I think, why we don't talk about mental health enough. Because we do that as human beings. By the way, I noticed a few extra print lines that I can remove from the Loki crown, so I'm doing that while we have this this talk here. Gotta cover the kid with blankets, so that's fun. Putting the kid to bed or playing with your kid is always a good thing to do. You never have to apologize to go away for that. I know you didn't apologize, but just reminding you, spending time with your family is extremely important. I missed out on a few years with my family, and that's one of my biggest regrets in life, where I went away for work, and I wasn't back for a long, long time. Nope, no, I know you didn't. I was just saying for other people around, because like I was saying, like I missed out a lot on my son growing up, and I tried to put work first because before I got this job, well, not right before, but shortly before, we lived in the streets in a car, and I wanted something that would always provide for us. So I thought, work is more important, because if I have work, that means I have money, that means I can provide. Well, and that's probably where a lot of my mental health issues come from, actually. But at the end of the day, your job's not going to be there for you. Oh yeah, and some people, the stress that they have is more on physical, and that's a big, big thing. I remember when, like, my mother went through a lot of her anxiety when she was younger. I was a lot younger too. I was maybe 6 or 7, and mental health wasn't even talked about, and she had panic attacks and things like that. And the panic attacks were very, very physical for her, like throwing it up and stuff like that, and she didn't even know how to deal with it. And nobody talked about it. And that's why I'm trying to get more and more people to talk about whatever it is. If there's something that's not going well right now within you, you don't need to share it with me personally, but you gotta talk about it. You probably have someone in your life that's willing to listen to you. And if you don't, there's a lot of places that will take a phone call. There's one ad on Reddit that keeps popping up. Even though that you don't know those people, just sharing what's going on sometimes in your life is important. And even if it's like me right now, like I struggle with the lack of balance I have between family and work. And I'm trying to do the best I can. Well, sometimes just talking to somebody about those things can be enough to find that little thing that you need. Like something I was wanting to talk about on the stream for a while was like politics, but at the same time, like everybody's talking about politics and nobody understands what I mean when I say I want to talk about politics. I don't want to know if you're lefty or righty or whatever. I don't care about those things. What I mean about politics is, like, why are politics a thing and why are people fighting over it and things like that? But I don't think we're in a situation where talking about things like that is as important as talking about somebody's mental health. And then talking about traveling, that's another thing I wanted to do for a while, because I want to travel, but I haven't. So it's kind of hard to talk about something I haven't done. But mental health, a lot of stuff I do at work requires me to know about mental health and talk about it. So if I do it professionally, why not do it for fun as well? Because that's something good I can bring to the world. No, I do not have a type of work where it's easy to balance life and work. That is true. That's especially true in the summer where there is no such thing as work-life balance at all in the summer. It's work and that's the only thing that's available. So I retried the printer and that did not work. I think I figured out why though. I think my strap gets stuck. The best thing you can do is leave work at work and home at home. True, but there's certain situations, like you know, that sometimes you can't do that. You know, there's certain situations, depending on the type of job you have, of course. I know for my job, it's not an easy thing. So, Liquid Sloth, I like learning about politics, but I always come to a point where if my vote does or doesn't count and my action ends there, why talk about it? Unless I'm actively going out and doing something about it, donating money, starting a cause or something. And that's another big thing, why talking about politics is a hard subject. Because that's what it always ends up to with myself as well. And people don't always understand, like, whether you're leftist or rightist or whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because if we're following what politics are supposed to do, it shouldn't start a fight just because of that. But I'm very, like, I'd say gray-minded in a lot of things, where I can agree with the left, I can agree with the right, where, you know, the left thinks certain way, but the right has to think the complete opposite. I don't agree with that personally, and that's what I mean by talking about politics. Why are we always separated by everything 100%? shouldn't we have things that everybody agrees with? Like we talk about, like on this channel here, I talk a lot about mental health. Everybody should agree on that, right? And yes, like Liquid Sloth here is saying that I'm less for government, more for freedom in almost every viewpoint. Yeah, and that's what I mean. If the government should only be in place to help us get that freedom, not to limit what we do more. Now, understanding that, how do you achieve that? That's another situation where certain people need more directions. Not everybody. There's certain people that, and that's a proven fact, that certain people are just more followers than leaders. There's nothing bad with that. Until we come to a point of government, what's the right call? So if you have a bunch of leaders trying to lead, it's not the best solution. But if you have a bunch of followers, and well, sheep, yes, but everybody's a sheep to a certain extent if you think about it. So followers follow, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, unless those followers don't know what they're following. So that's a big thing. It's education's a big thing that is forgotten about. So people say, "Oh, this person's a sheep." Well, everybody's a sheep. If you when a lot of people that use that as a derogatory term use it while being sheep themselves. So if those followers are following a topic that hurts you, then those followers hurt me. So yeah, okay, I get what you mean, where like followers following a negative leader, basically, that is gonna hurt people. Well, those followers are gonna hurt more people because their leader told them to not like them or whatever. And yes, that's a very big thing that I say as well. Yes, that's true. It's a topic, but those topics are brought on by leaders. All those topics. Yeah, and I agree. There's a lot of different topics about everything. But there's always somebody that starts those. And then you get other leaders that are just pushing those subjects. Now, there's so many of those. We could talk about just stating subjects for hours probably. And that's an issue that we're having, where we have people that are good at leading, starting topics that they don't understand sometimes. And they don't want to understand. It doesn't exist until you speak it into existence. That's that's exactly what it is. Don't think about pink elephants. Fair enough. That's a very, very big thing. If that's where, like, the theory of, let's say, well, I don't want to bring any theories into anything really, but if you look at any subject and you start doing the research on it, I mean research, not I watched a YouTube video. Boom, now you're thinking pink elephants, and if I'm talking for 100 days or 4 years or 8 years, now pink elephants just permanently reside in your mind. That's true. And that's the thing, where people will follow what makes them feel better in a way. Right? This subject fits more the way I think. It's easier for me to think about it this way, so I will follow that. And there's no research that's being done. They're just topics that are talked about, and people follow the topics, like you say, on the media, from some certain leaders and certain, like, either political leaders. There you go. That was a hard word. Or sometimes it's like even media, so like movie stars and stuff like that, sports stars, whatever. And for kids, this has been a majority of their life. Certain topics on the media, even if it did or didn't exist, it takes 3 generations to change an ideology, from what 1984 says, I think. And yeah, it does take 3 generations, because the first generation that comes up with it will say it and enforce it on the second generation. The third will just go with, this is how I was raised, so this is what it is. And the fourth usually goes with, that doesn't make any sense. And that's how it works. They actually did a study on how things like that come up with the monkeys, with the electrified ladder. I don't know if you've ever heard that one, but there's a cage with 3 monkeys in there, and there's a ladder with a bunch of their favorite food on top of the ladder. So the monkeys, as soon as they try to climb the ladder on the 3rd step, they get electrocuted. Not to death, but just gain a little shock. So the 3 monkeys learn it, and at one point they just leave it alone. They don't even go on it. Then they switch out some of the monkeys, one at a time. So for a few days, they switch all of them until all 3 monkeys are completely different. But suddenly the 3 monkeys that never seen the electrical shock are doing the same thing than the ones that did witness it. Because of the first ones told them don't go on it by beating them. Monkeys don't use words that much. And that's the same thing applies to any society. People will follow what's going on. But one thing about that research is the ladder, the electricity was removed from it when the 3 monkeys were changed, and did not ever see any monkeys be electrocuted. So they could have went up and ate the fruit there, but they were just taught, no, don't do it. But if you introduce a newer generation in there, 3 times, that mentality is gone. So that's what I believe is happening in the world right now, where a lot of topics are being brought up by political leaders or movie stars or sports stars or whatever, and people go like, well, I don't know about that subject, that's interesting, let me go look it up. What's the easy thing to do these days? Go on YouTube. They listen to that one YouTube video that talks about it, go like, huh, cool, and then they leave it at that. So they talk about that to somebody else, and then the video just starts spreading because people are using their own minds to come up with all sorts of things that makes sense when you see it, but there's no actual research in it. And sometimes there is research and it's proven different than what it is, and that's a thing as well. But since science is always trying to prove science wrong, people think that everybody has the same opinion on everything, but to me, that's not the case. Your words have value, but if you don't have a specialization in something, why are you telling me how to do that thing that you never learned about except from YouTube videos? And that's the thing now. We get into a thing where it's going to take 3 generations to remove or to change the mentality that's going on right now. And we can go with everything. Like, what do we have around the world? COVID. Well, some people believe it's a real thing, some people don't. And it's creating a huge divide where nobody's doing the proper research. People are just listening to what people are saying. At this point, this is what it is. Research is an actual thing. And I'm not saying if it's real or not. That's not what I'm talking about. There needs to be proper research on it by the people doing the research. If you're not a scientist, well, go get educated on what being a scientist is and then do the research. Because research is not just watching 2-3 YouTube videos and a few posts online with no sources. There's a lot more into it than that. But we can apply that to almost anything that we talk about. Whether it's politics, whether it's medical, scientific, space, or whatever. And that's a bit, like you said, it takes up to 3 generations to change an ideology, and we can see it today with how we were raised with work. Like, I know that my grandfather worked all his life, and work was the biggest thing. 3 generations later, work is no longer important. Like, living is more important. That's how I see it anyways. Well, yes, and that's what I mean. Do your own research, but do proper research is what's important, and that's what's being forgotten on everything. Research is not just looking up that one video on YouTube and that one post from your friend Bob. Research is actually going out and doing proper research, is actually having other people look at what you found and finding their own view of it. Not, oh yeah, well you did that, I'm going to do the exact same test. No, what happens when I change the test a little bit, and that's what it is. But yes, learning from both sides is incredibly important. Science also agrees with that. We should never stick to one thing. A big thing in science is, and every kind of science it is always, let's have it peer reviewed. So you have peers looking at it with everything they can to disprove it. And that's how proper research is done. And if anybody comes to disproving a subject, then they start talking about, well, this was wrong, so my theory is wrong because of this or that, or somebody else is going to try to disprove that again. It's always a fight. Science is just a fight of disproving everything. That's all it is. But we can apply that to everything we do. Whether it's the virus that's going on, whether it's gravity. Like, gravity, it kind of works. I'm standing on the ground right now. But it's still a theory because we could always disprove it, and that was just disproven that gravity is not a constant thing. It varies. That was discovered, what, 4 years ago? So it is important to question everything. It's also important not just to follow blindly everything. But if it's not your specialty, you gotta learn about it properly first before you say, well, I think this is that because I don't like the other outcome. Because science does not, it doesn't matter if you don't agree with it. If that's what it is, that's what it is. But if you go out and do your research, I'm all for it. And I do my own for a lot of things. I don't agree with everything, so I go out and start looking into it and do the proper research, read the documentation, and see if there's something I don't agree with. A lot of times I'm not a specialist, so I can't voice my opinions on a lot of things, because opinions are not what matters in everything that goes on. But your opinion on, let's say, political things, that's very important, because somebody's opinion should have as much value as somebody else. People will go what ensures their own belief, and yes, that's a big thing, which makes it funny for me, because a lot of things that we do as human beings is always about the opposite. It's always, we try to disprove things not only to make it work with our own belief system, but so that we find out the truth. I think that finding the truth is more important than saying, well, this works more with the way I believe. But that's my point of view, right? But I'm also able to say I'm not right about certain things. Alright, so I've been on stream now for going on about 2 hours, which I usually cut after an hour. So Liquid Sloth, I want to thank you a lot, and also you two, thank you very much for joining my stream tonight and having these discussions with me. So I'll be streaming again on Monday, but please add me to that follow list and let's discuss things. Like Skyra there, the thing is with our government, they'll pass a law one at a time to either take more money or take a bit of freedom at a time. So would say, it's okay, I can live with that. And that's a very, very interesting subject, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about it more about that on the future stream. It's 10 o'clock. I've been streaming for 2 hours, and I want to take a few minutes here before everybody goes off and do what they have to do. Like, do what we always do at every end of stream. So take 2 minutes of your life to just relax your body. Relax those shoulders. Let them go loose. Relax your jaw. Drop your tongue for the roof of your mouth. Close your eyes for a bit. Take a deep breath in. Out through your mouth. Just look around you and find something that you're grateful for. We know that there's a lot of bad things around us in the world right now. We're talking about that in the stream, in the chat, so please keep talking if you're comfortable with it. But find something you're grateful for. It's extremely important that we find the positives that there are in the world right now. And finding balance is not an easy thing to do. But one thing you can do easily is finding that 2 minutes in your day to just think about that great coffee you had this morning, or the fact that, you got to spend time with your family today, or that your dog is sleeping at your feet. It could be anything like that. Be grateful for what you have. And with that, I'm going to say good night. I'll talk to you again on Monday at 8 o'clock, and hopefully we can have more discussions like this. And, so where do we draw the line? If to push a line that... Yeah, pushing the line. I do want to talk more about that on a later stream. Have a good night, everyone.